Alright guys, let's switch over to Law of Cosines. So on the back of our notes, we're going to go under Law of Sines and we're going to put Law of Cosines, which is what we did last time, so we should be more familiar with this. Now we could write this three ways, and I'm also going to show you kind of a general way, but if we start with a squared, what is a squared equal to?
B squared plus C squared minus 2BC times the cost of
Okay, that's one way I could write it. And then basically we could switch up the letters a little bit. So then if I go to B, that means here I'm going to see A and C, not the channel. Get it, A and C. All right. And then the angle will be angle B. Lastly, if we start with C squared, then the other two letters here are A and B, but the angle becomes C. All right. Now, our first combination, well, let me give you a second to write it, but we're going to do two examples of these. We can do law of cosines to find a missing side, or we can use it to find missing angles, but only if we're given the right combination, okay? For example, if I flip this over, do you all have that written down? I still see some people right, so I'm going to give it a second. If I look at the front, if I have any of the law of sines ones where it was like side, side angle, or angle, angle, side, or angle, side, angle, I can't use the law of cosines.
I can try.
You could try, but you will not succeed, unfortunately. However, number 4, this one, we can. What do you see here, guys? Sass. Or in other words, side, angle, side. Emily, do me a favor, put your phone away. Thank you. Okay, I have a side, angle, side. Ruby, I want you to help me on this. Will you tell me which side is 19, which side is 24, like as far as A, B, or C? Which? Yep. Awesome. And then obviously C is that one right there. Now this is saying, let's find AB. So that's going to be this opposite side, which, what do we call that side?
The hypotenuse.
No.
C.
C, thank you. It's not a right triangle. So, did I already write this on the front? So what we're going to write on front here, guys, is side, angle, side. If you're given a side, angle, side combination, then you use the law of cosines to find a missing side, which is the third side, okay?
This is the one that is not,
Now, if you're confused with the letters and the formulas, what I think of when I do side, angle, side is, and I'm going to maybe turn this around so I have enough room. If I'm finding that side, I think of it like this. I do x squared. I just take, it's equal to one of the sides squared plus the other side squared
I need both sides.
minus 2 times one of the sides times one of the sides. And then I'm doing by the cosine of the angle. So I'll write it like that. Now that takes up a lot of space. That's why I had to go sideways, or I would have run out of space then.
I just need 2 sides.
And the angle between them. Okay.
Yeah. Or 3 sides.
You didn't have to write that down, but if you want to, good. I still see some people writing, so let me wait a second before we actually do this. Alright, let's look at this example here, okay? So if I'm using the examples on the letters on back, I'm trying to find side C. So which of these formulas should I use?
The C one.
The one that starts with a C, right? Excuse me, because then I have to do less algebra. So let's start out with our general formula here. I'm going to put in c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine of c. Alright, now Emma, I'm going to have you help me out with this. I want you to substitute in a, b, and angle c. I'm trying to find side c, so we don't know that. But what is side a? So yeah, 24 squared. What is b? 19 squared, and then we'll have 2 times 24 times 19. And then what is angle c? Great. Now if you guys remember from last time, what do we do with that big long equation?
Put it in your calculator.
You just put it in your calculator.
And make sure it can be green. Because,
Yes.
you know, it just might change. Looking person.
So let's have everyone practice doing that. Let's see if we get the same thing.
Order of operations. I just mess up because I just like to put parentheses. I'm like, I decide the order of operations.
You
I
decide
think
it.
the power of these little parentheses.
That's true. Parentheses go first, so they rule it all. Okay, Louise, what'd you get?
1522.22.
You guys agree with that?
Yes, but you need a square root.
That's what I got as well. Now that's c squared, so how do we undo a square?
Square root.
Square root it. Now can I show you a cool little trick on your calculator here? That's what c squared is. I want to do the square root, so I go second x squared, right? That does a square root. But now if you look down here, right above negative, do you see how it has, in blue, answer? So if I do second negative, it will copy that 1523.2223 down there, so I don't have to type it. So then I get 39, which is the answer here. This angle, or this side length here for C is 39. What is our units?
Yards.
Do you know that's a pirate's favorite measurement?
Yards.
Yards. Alright. Good joke. Okay. Do you have any questions about this one? Do you know how much a pirate charges to pierce your ear? A buccaneer.
A buccaneer.
Get it?
Ha, ha, ha.
That's when you, I'm assuming you're smiling on your mask.
Yes.
But the look that I'm seeing is more like, who is this guy? Alright. Last one. Guys, I don't even need to ask on this. What are you given on number 5?
Size.
You're given all the sides.
The snake.
Snake over there? What's going
The snake one. The SO.
Oh, okay. So this is side, side, side. Obviously, what are we going to be finding on this one?
Angle.
So we're going to
Obviously
use
one of
this.
the sides. The hidden side.
Yeah.
The fourth side of the triangle.
Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do that. This one is a little more complicated because we got to do a lot of steps here, okay?
The two-step one?
No, this is not the 2-step, it's just a lot of algebra. Okay, so Nellie, which angle are we asked to find on number 5? C, so I'm trying to find C. So then, which of these formulas, Nellie, should I use? How come? Yeah, because it's the only one that has an angle C in it, so good job. So we're going to start with that. So I'm going to write out the equation. C squared, I want it to be in blue. C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine of C.
Always writing cosine A. Always. And I have to erase it.
Alright, now Braylon, can you tell us which side length is A, which side length is B, which side length is C? 24 is C. Yep, keep going. So go for what's across from it. So see, when you said that's across, there you go. What's 18 across from it? There you go. So this is B, which would make 26A. Great, so let's go in and let's rewrite that equation. But instead of C, I'm going to put 24. Instead of A, I'm going to put 26. And instead of B, I'm going to put 18. Now, I don't know what angle C is, so I'm just going to leave that there. Now, when we were solving for a missing side, it was easy. We just put it all in our calculator. This one's not quite as easy. We're going to have to do some algebra here, some simplifying and working backwards, solving. So, Mindy, I want you to find out 24 squared, Melissa, 26 squared, Caroline, 18 squared, and then Louisa, if you'll do negative 2 times 26 times 18. All right, Mindy, what is 24 squared?
576.
Awesome. Melissa, what is 26 squared?
676.
Okay. And then Caroline, what was 18 squared?
324.
And then Louise, what's negative 2 times 26 times 18?
Negative 936.
All right. So with some help of our classmates, we're able to simplify that first step there, okay? All right, now our goal here is we want to solve for C. We can combine some like terms. I can combine the 676 and the 324. But can we combine the negative 936? No, because it's attached to the cosine. They're not like terms, but that's a common mistake, so be careful. So let's just add those two together. They actually add up to a nice number, 1,000. That's neat.
I'm always very sus when he does that. I'm like,
I'm not sure. Check my work. All right. Isaac, what would be a good next step? I'm still trying to solve for C. I've combined like terms. What could I do next?
You could subtract 1,000 on both sides.
1,000 or 5? I think that's 423. Does someone check me on that? 424. Darn it, that was close. Negative 424 is equal to negative 936 cosine of C. All right, so then Oscar, you're next. What would be my next step in solving for C as we're going through this algebra? Wait, Oscar's not behind Isaac. Skylar is. I'm sorry. She had her hood down. I couldn't tell. Skylar, that's you. What am I going to do next here? So we're timesing by negative 936. What would be the opposite of that? Yeah, so let's divide both sides by negative 936. Because when you divide something by itself, it turns to 1. And here a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So I'll have 424 over 936 is equal to the cosine of C. All right, Eleanor, what cancels out a cosine?
I want to say the cosine for -1, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
The inverse.
The inverse cosine. Good job.
Inverse.
So we were so close to solving for C, we just had to get rid of that cosine. So if I take the inverse cosine, those cancel each other out. And then I'll get C. So on my calculator, I'm just going to sneak this over here and put in second cosine of 424 over 936.
63.1.
Man, that 0.1, I was hoping for a nice whole number, but that's all right. So we're just going to say C is 63.1. 63.1 what?
Degrees.
That's an angle, so we get 63.1. Now what's nice from here, guys, is that if I wanted to find another angle, do I have to do law of cosines again? The answer is no. Now I could use the law of sines, which the law of sines is a lot easier. And then once I have two angles, how would you find the third angle?
You add them both together and subtract them from one
Right.
I got 63.06.
But we're rounding to the
Yes.
10th, so around that 0.
I just didn't know.
Okay, so now guys, what we have here is we have all the different ways we can use the law of sines and all the different ways we can use the law of cosines. Now what's nice is, am I going to let you use this on your quiz
Yes.
and on your test?
Yeah.
Yeah, so make sure you have these all filled out and know that you know how to use them. We're actually going to do some practice right now. I'm going to give you a minute here. So get out this page, the law of sines and cosines practice. And what you're going to do, you're not going to do these yet. All you're going to do is you're going to go through and say what's given and whether you would use law of sines or law of cosines. For example, with number 1, we need to find AC. That's this side over here. Okay, what am I given here? What combination of sides and angles?
Side angle side.
Side, angle between the next side, so side, angle, side. With side, angle, side, do you use law of cosines or law of sines? There we go. We look at the front, we say, hey, side, angle, side. Boom, there's law of cosines. And guess what? You're going to follow it just like what we did here. The letters might be a little bit different because we're trying to find this side, which is B. But then it's the same formula, same steps. So I just look at the formulas on the back and I'll use B squared instead of C squared. Does that make sense? So that way it gives you a clue of how to get started. Now what you guys are going to do is I'm going to give you about 2 minutes here. And in that 2 minutes, you're going to go through 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you're going to say, okay, what am I given? And would I use the law of sines or law of cosines? And that will help you so that then when later you go in and solve it, you know what you're using, okay? So 2 minutes, law of sines or law of cosines, and once you get those, start setting them up.